Today we'll be explaining the new changes that we've made around the inventory module to our Kim Sales module. So start off from the shortcut menu, and Sales Inventory Management will be what you will click on to get to the new sales module. So start off with the warehouses. So the warehouses is where the stock will be held. And within those warehouses, you've got the concept of lines of product and what they've got on hand, as well as min-max levels. So when you click into the stock details, you will be able to see the purchase price for this particular product, the suppliers that stock it, and then what's the locations where that stock can be found. Also within here, you'll be able to get to any assigned stock for this particular product, whereby example being PPE, you might want to see all of the shirts, high-vis, goggles, helmets that are assigned to your different team members, and it will say who's got what stock assigned to them. It's not technically taken away from stock unless it's specifically a consumable, but it's just showing where the stock is held. So another more prominent example would be a service vehicle, where you might have stock on the vehicle at any given time that is to be used for maintenance jobs out on sites. On order will show you all of the purchase order history for this particular product. So any purchase orders that have been raised with this particular product within and when they were ordered and who ordered them. History will show you the receipting of stock in or out for this particular product as well. You can edit the particular product from here as well. The code is what is the unique identifier. There's also a barcode field. So if you're using the scanning functionality within the system, enter the barcode in the barcode field, and once you scan a product, it will find it based on that barcode to this particular product. So within here, you've got the concept of subtypes, where you can add particular catalog items as by default being added under the subtype of material, as an example. The manufacturers who typically will stock it, but rate cards will also give you the capability of having one product sourced from multiple locations. Also within here, you've got the base price, which is your cost, compared to the sale cost, which is the default that would be used, where you haven't got a rate card overriding that. You've also got sales tax that would be applicable on the actual item of, well, the product, and then the units that are applicable for that particular item as well. You've got general description, which will come through to the purchase order, and quotes in which the product is added to. Sub items, if it's added as a package, will also allow you to incorporate extra added costs, which may be incorporated with that product. So that could be particular labor required to procure or configure or set up that particular product. But typically packages are their own piece, in that you've got a larger piece that's broken down into many different components. But when it comes to quoting that item, you'll only be able to see that one. Not as important apart from potentially for assemblies with the stock and inventory module. So that's the individual details. Once you're in the warehouse view again on web, you'll also have the locations at the top. So all stock is currently visible at the bottom by default, but if you wanted to see only stock in certain locations within the warehouses, you can select reception, which will show only the stock at reception, as well as back office cupboard, where at the moment there's nothing on hand in that other location in the warehouse. You can configure the warehouse itself to have who can access the warehouse, who's notified of low stock or high stock thresholds, and then the configuration of those locations we were talking about before. When stock comes in, you can also set a location that by default all stock will come into, unless you advise a different location where the stock will be receipted. So that's the warehouse view. If you're adding stock for a purchase order, you'd be going through a purchase order process where a purchase order would be raised. This can be raised on both web or mobile. You'll start off with the actual purchase order creation page, where you can, like with quotes and invoices, create default descriptions, the supplier that the quote is raised for, the project if the purchase order is relevant to a particular project in the system, or a milestone related to that project as well. Warehouse would then be selected in that I'm ordering items specifically coming into this particular warehouse. So just just set Kynection warehouse, and then any custom fields that is the same view as anything else in the system, and you've got extra areas to add extra data that you may need. Once you've added that, the description will all display in the section on the right, and then any products will be selected below. If I hit add items at the top, you'll either be able to select only items from that particular supplier or the products from any of the suppliers in the list. If you've got not all products known to this particular supplier, you can just raise a purchase order for a list of any products. There's also the concept of one-off items, which is just a free text version of the product edition. If I go from supplier, I'll be able to procure dry hire of 12.5 ton excavator. We'll just say 16 hours of that, and then add that particular thing to the purchase order. Once that's been added, it will include all of the code that's associated with that product, how many's received, which at this point I'm just creating it, so it would be 0. The quantity can be updated from here, and the price, if it's varying from the default, can be updated in here as well as GST. So once you've submitted it, you'll then have the concept of receipting the product. Again, this can be receipted from web or mobile, and once you've received it, it will then create a purchase receipt essentially to say that this has received, we'll say 10 of the items, and then that's created you a receipt that's able to be visible against that. So confirm the receipt, and that's now been created. If I go back to the purchase order itself, all of your receipts will come up in that view there. So receipt number 1, and it will also show that 10 has been received of the 16. So if I do the same process again of receiving an additional, I'll just go 6, confirm the receipt, and then that has now fully receipted that particular purchase order. So that stock will have also been added directly to the Kynection warehouse under the default location Kynection warehouse, and then the product is 12.5 ton excavator, and you've got now an additional added. So history will show those two receipted today for that particular product to that particular location. That's your full history of that. So on mobile, you'll have a slightly different view, but the whole purpose of mobile compared to web is that you've got a simplified configuration as well as some simplified use of the mobile app compared to the web, which is a lot more advanced. So in the sales module, once in, you'll be able to see all of the standard data within here. So leads, invoices, quotes, purchase orders, and purchase receipts. So warehouses are also able to be seen within here. So if I go to a particular warehouse, I'll be able to see the stock on hand under this warehouse as well. You can also search for a particular product as well. But as per before, it's just showing 12.5 ton excavator, 385 total across that warehouse. Currently, there's not the concept of locations in here at this stage, but that will be coming later to allow you to filter by location within the warehouse instead of just viewing all stock. So that's warehouses. All of the data will be visible within there from a view-only perspective. But your purchase order is the same process as before. You'll be able to click into an open purchase order, say an item has come into stock. You'll be able to search the particular purchase order number and then receipt that stock. So if I click into this one as an example, you've got the purchase order for 1300 temp fence, and then I'll be able to either scan and receive or just go directly to the items and click into each to be able to receipt the product as well. Going back to here beforehand, if all items on the purchase order came at once, you'll be able to just hit receive, which will receipt all items on that purchase order. Or like I said, the scan and receive option will just open up your camera to be able to scan the particular barcode and generate the receipt. For the sake of this example, I won't use that, but that option is available to you if you had it configured. If you go into items, it will show you all of the items against that purchase order. To receipt it, you'll just need to go into receive. You'll then have a selection of seaweed and the 1000 litre IBC. So they're the two items on this particular purchase order. So if I click into seaweed, I'll be able to list how many has been receipted. Same for the other one, and then go create receipt based on what I've selected as being receipted on there. So it's created your receipt, and then you'll be able to go confirm receipt, which will receipt that product in. If I then go back against that purchase order, it will show as received, and also the items that were receipted as part of that purchase order receipt. Again, same as web, you'll be able to see all of the receipts relating to this purchase order in the one spot. It's the same as web. To create a new purchase order, it's just the plus, as always with all of our modules on mobile. You'll select what supplier the purchase order is raised for. So I'll just say 1300 temp fence. And then the plus at the bottom will allow me to add stock, non-stock, or notes and attachments. So if I select non-stock, I'll be able to select the category in which the product is under. I'll just go drilling, and then a service kit, which will then allow me to update the quantity of how many is required, as well as the unit price within this view as well. Description will be just the product description. So, and then you'll be able to hit done when the product is added. Same thing again, if you're needing to add more items, it's just the plus at the bottom, and you can add the plus from either the items view or the main purchase order view. Once all your items are added, you'll just be able to submit the purchase order, which will then have an open requirement for that purchase order. When the stock comes in, same process as I showed before, you'll just receipt that product in. There is also another updated release coming for mobile for sales that will have packing slips, quotes, invoices being able to be edited, but for the initial concept apart from purchase orders, it's a view only page for mobile device currently. Stock takes will also be able to be completed on mobile as well, and that is just a process set up on web to say what you're wanting to have checked as part of the stock take, and then the process of creating it. Start off with selection of your warehouse that the stock take is to be completed on, and then create your new report. So this will then have an open stock take where you've got all of the products within this particular warehouse listed under here, where you'll be doing a physical count against each of them. And then once you're completed, you'll be able to confirm all open lines, as well as submit it once all of the items are accounted for. Again, work in progress, but otherwise you can edit the quantity if it differs from what you've got. Otherwise, you'll just be confirming the stock is at that location. So on hand, you've got 0, unit cost, total cost, if you're wanting to update the cost of the products as well, to give you a total cost of items in the warehouse. Thank you for watching the video. As always, you can reach me via email or phone if you want to get more information on any of the content showed in this demo. Otherwise, take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.